Now we will have the last session. Last not least, I've said this a few times. Please all come inside and celebrate some of the greatest entrepreneurs from Europe coming in. Please, let's start. Edward and Marc and Luke, please come on stage.
We'll go over there. Stay here.
Okay, can you introduce yourselves just quickly? Edward, we know each other for a long time. This is what you do normally, and
what I do normally is what I do normally. I run an investment.
Speak up a little bit.
Really?
Yes, I think not. Otherwise, nobody.
Yeah, because
I don't hear.
Before it was very loud.
Huh?
Before it was very loud.
Yeah, let's keep it that way.
Okay. So I run an investment company called Kite Ventures, which made a number of investments. At some point, we were the largest shareholder in Delivery Hero, which many of you know. We've also invested in a number of other companies in Berlin and elsewhere. In London, we're in Made.com. My latest passion is urbanization, and specifically real estate tech, or the way it's called now is prop tech. And I live in New York and make a lot of investments there, in addition to continuing to make investments in Europe.
And you were the first investor in Delivery Hero.
I was one of the first investors,
yeah.
Yes.
Which has been a great success story.
It's been wonderful. It's a great group of people.
Thank you. Marc.
I'm Marc Beermann. I'm one of the co-founders of Allthings, and what Allthings does is we help asset managers, so large real estate asset managers, the category Credit Suisse, AXA, and so on, to basically build digital assets. And what does that mean? We basically help them to create applications for each of the buildings within their portfolio, which basically helps them to get direct access to the tenant and integrate third-party services. Okay, so it's an app for each building.
And I think the way you explained it, you're disrupting the property manager, right?
You're disrupting the property manager, exactly, because usually when you look at, if you look at these typical tenant portals, it's usually something that's provided by the property manager. We actually take it away from the property manager. We put it on the asset manager level and allow the asset manager to build digital assets, which you can then monetize.
Is it difficult to set up?
No, it's very easy to set up. It's virtual, and it works quite well.
Yeah.
Because
by the way, if people ask why we are doing a real estate panel, we got a lot of interest after our Berlin event from people asking us to do something in real estate, because first you have all these co-working spaces, and then there's the question, can there be a tech solution around managing your real estate? And yeah, talking about tech and real estate, Luke, you are very strong in the visualization of the...
So my name is Luke Levene. I advise real estate companies on disruptive technologies with a focus on AR and VR and looking towards the future with mixed realities. I'm very much in the trenches, so we're really building and packaging these solutions with different technology companies for market. So really seeing how they actually can be adopted and integrated and seeing the real value
So if we go from left to right, actually from right to left, you're basically in charge to make the real estate project nice to walk through, or make it feel without being there. You're helping to manage it, and you're basically funding property projects.
I look at it from the market perspective, as I do with most other businesses. If you look at food, it's a 5 trillion market annually around the world. Food services, which is like food delivery and restaurants and related things, is about half of that. Mm-hmm. When I look at real estate, it's tens of trillions of transaction volume a year, and
it's the largest industry.
It's the largest industry. Well, the finance is similar, but there's a lot of margin that the brokers are taking, and they're being very inefficient. There's a lot of margin that maintenance organizations are taking, as you would know, and you have different forms of managers, different middlemen. It's a very antiquated industry, and technology will come there. And it's all being driven by urbanization, by the fact that people are moving more and more in the cities. We live in a society which is dominated by city-states, and city-states and something else, or you can say it's city-states against something else, as we just witnessed in the US elections. You had top 20 cities all being pro-Clinton, and the rest of the country being not so much.
So Marc, how many customers you have now using your platform?
We started last year. So we had the first customer in Switzerland, and since then we have now 130 enterprise size customers. One of the biggest one, actually the largest one in Europe, AXA, is now using our system.
We are friends with Bubel, the CEO, who was at NOAH in Berlin.
Yes, we know. Yeah, we know him. I know that he was there, and we know him too. But that was not the angle we got in there. It's really about that the asset managers are looking for solutions how to become digital. And if you look at an asset manager, I mean, they're owning thousands of apartments and thousands of buildings.
And how long does it take to employ your solution?
Takes 1 week, maybe less. I mean, the technical part on our side is takes an hour. Right. So it's more about the integration, the onboarding, getting the tenants to use the applications that they put in there. That's the challenge.
Right. And Edward, I mean, looking at this co-working space, which is now a huge trend. I mean, obviously there's WeWork, and I don't know, who knows WeWork here? Quite a few. They came to Europe. WeWork has kind of opened up a huge trend, and a lot of copycats have arose everywhere. And all of these players we looked at, they have a really exciting offering because they make the office work a little bit feel less like work. It's nicer and flexible. And will we be in a society where you have the boring office buildings and then the pleasant ones, or how is that developing?
So I think that I don't like the term co-working.
Sorry?
I don't like the term co-working. I think that I prefer to talk about flexible office space. And you know that I chair a company called Notel, the Knowledge Hotel in New York. They've grown tremendously over the last year. And what we see, and they have a different focus from WeWork. WeWork focuses or provides a service to freelancers and very small companies. They're trying to get into the market with larger businesses, and that's where Notel started. It's for companies between 10 and 100 people, and on average it's about 20 people per team. So when you have teams like that, they need different spaces. They have certain hierarchies. They have more meetings, and they need more meeting rooms. And I think that, again, from the market perspective, we're in the very beginnings of this. Urbanization is driving a lot of people to cities. New York gets 100,000.
Yeah, we heard from someone for the first time now we have more people living in cities.
Yes, that happened recently. When New York is growing at 100,000 people a year, that's net migration into New York. That doesn't count the people that are born there. So all these people need a space to live and need space to work. So from that perspective, you have 450, in New York alone, you have 450 million square feet of commercial office space, offices, basically. Less than 1% of that is shared and flexible. But with more and more people, you can't build that fast. You can't expand the space of Manhattan. So
it doesn't make sense. Right?
Yeah.
We learned from Porsche today that the usage of your car in terms of time is only 1%.
Yeah, so usage of conference rooms.
So what's the point of having all these empty office spaces?
Exactly. So you come to the shared economy model, where you share the value and you share the risks and you share the costs. So you have flexible and shared office space, which is reliable and convenient. And WeWork is pioneering that, and they're breaking walls for many others, both metaphorically and literally.
No, I understand. I think there's this huge need in society for that, because the cities should be greener. As Oliver Zamwer said, we should take all the shopping malls away and put nice parks and do everything online.
And think about it from the perspective of mobility, because we talk a lot about it, and we've seen transportation being completely disrupted. But we'll see real estate being disrupted in the same manner. And real estate and transportation, in turn, will also disrupt real estate.
I think it will take longer, because it's not a decision you make every day. You make it once for a few years. So when you switch, especially when companies have to switch, it's like changing a payment provider or a hoster, it will take some kind of conviction.
Yeah.
Talking about marketing, So look, the digitalization or visualization of real estate, I remember when I came to London on Foxton's real estate site, I could go through the rooms, but
They're already implementing virtual tours.
it wasn't such a cool experience then. How is it now?
Well, I would already, Matterport, if you had a chance to play with Matterport, and those are one of the technologies that I would advise my clients, gives you full, the full potential to immerse yourself in an existing building. And
And do you put like one of these funny goggles on?
It's packaged on all mobile devices, so iPhone, iPad, Android compatible.
So every real estate agent should have this
their
technology.
iPad, and then they use that as a sales tool to kind of connect.
Okay.
That's one kind of mode of operation.
Okay. Marc, Quip, do you have competitors? Is there like a US brother who does what you do?
I
or
just spent
is
3
it-
weeks in Silicon Valley and New York to find one, and addressing the asset manager, not the property manager, doesn't exist so far. So you see a lot of players in the property management side, you know, like Billium, Building Link, in Germany it's Kasavi and some others, who are more addressing the property manager and optimizing and making them more efficient through digital technology.
It's a SaaS solution, I believe.
Yeah, exactly. But really the difference for us is we're looking at the owner and not at the guy who's running it. And basically our model, if you would describe it, it's a software as a service enabled marketplace, as we are able to integrate other services in there too. So somebody like Movinga, Movo, or now we have Siemens actually working on our platform to get access to the tenant directly. They have all great technology, but they lack this window to the tenant. And the asset manager is providing that window, and Siemens, for example, is interested in basically putting their energy monitoring, for example, to the tenant, but they lack this system, right? They lack the channel.
Right.
And so this is what we're doing.
Interesting.
And this is actually, if I may add to this point, this is very interesting that you're focusing on asset managers, because we're seeing a change in real estate ownership. More and more real estate is being owned by REITs, the real estate investment trusts.
They need that.
And they are the asset managers. So they themselves cannot manage the spaces and cannot maintain them. So they need efficient models for taking good care and taking good care of their real estate and increasing yield.
What we see is what the asset managers we talk to, what they're scared about is that in 10 years they own the building, and everything that's happening inside is owned by Google, Amazon, all the interactions that happen inside.
Interesting.
Right, so that's what they're scared about. So
Well,
now
I love your
they
company. I
they
think
need
it's
a
wonderful.
tool to actually, fight back and basically take control.
This
of-
reminds me of, have you seen the Porsche presentation earlier? They have Porsche Connect. He says it's like the Apple ID. We have a Porsche ID. So maybe you can also create like a tenant ID. So you have an ability to go through all the different services around it through one login.
Yeah, that's what we do. That's exactly what we do. So we integrate food delivery, we integrate moving services, and since we know who's living there, we know when they move out, we know we can integrate smart home technology as well. It's a very good access point for all these service providers who would otherwise, would have to put flyers into the post box.
So is Knotel coming to Europe?
Yes, Knotel will come to Europe. I had several meetings with real estate owners and developers here. Maybe Q1 or Q2 of next year.
Okay, let our ecosystem know. And
Absolutely.
again,
and if there are companies that are coming to New York, they know how to find me.
thank you for bearing with us for this graveyard shift. I know you flew in from London.
We're waiting for this secret speaker that's speaking after us.
Yeah, I was waiting also for the secret speaker. So the secret speaker want to come to Berlin at the moment. It's Berlin will be very different to this. Here it's all about the meetings. I notice more and more. People come and set up their meetings like weeks in advance and have a full calendar. But anyway, real estate is at the beginning of disruption, and I think. You look at automotive, travel is done, retail is done, advertising is done, media is about to get done, telco is clearly in the middle of it, but automotive is really now happening.
Yeah.
And you have these huge companies and they all want to be not just part of it, they want to make it happen.
Yeah. So in 5 years when we're having this discussion, we'll be like having discussion about transportation 5 years ago.
I think so.
Or
I think
fintech.
so.
Yeah.
Our automotive panel in Berlin is insane what we are going to have there in June next year. Excellent. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you
And
very much.
also thank you to all of you. to be with us for so long.
Thanks, Marco.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Edwin.